What's up, everyone, and welcome to Before the Score, episode number 10. You've now been with us for 10 episodes. Thanks for listening. We're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. But let's move on to our first topic of the day, and we're going to talk about the Astros, those Lyin cheating Astros. I know Pablo Hernandez has a lot to say about those Astros.
Well, Steve, as I've previously stated on our other episodes, the Astros, man, the whole offseason has been centered around the Astros and this Astros scandal. Now, when you talk about the Houston Astros, I like to call them the last Astros, as they used to be called, because that's what they are. They're the end of the barrel. They're the bottom of the barrel. They're the bottom of the bunch. They're the most hated team in the. You could argue they're the most hated team in sports right now. They're just a disgrace. Now, all off season, we've been waiting to hear what they had to say about this whole cheating scandal. The whole time, you've just been hearing reports about these people getting suspended, what happened, this happened, but you never had the front office. You never had any players come out and say anything.
Until
Now,
today,
until today,
where Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, came out and said that, in their opinion, it didn't really impact the game. And I don't know how you could say that and expect nobody to have any backlash towards it.
Well, 50 seconds later, someone said, "Do you really think it didn't impact the game?" He said, "I never said that."
yeah.
So,
that bothered me.
Look, the Astros had a chance to better their image, not heal it completely, but to better their image by this press conference. And to me, it only got worse. Player statements weren't genuine. It didn't look like they cared. I think Correa had the best one, but I mean, it wasn't that good enough. Like Bregman's and Altuve's, it just wasn't genuine at all. Like I said, this should have helped them with their PR, and it just only made it worse.
Yeah, Bregman's statement specifically was very phony and rehearsed, it sounded like. And it really, this guy should be one of the brightest young stars in the entire MLB, and now he just looks like some phony asshole.
Yeah, Bregman has a very unlikable personality. Just the way he comes off, he just rubs everybody the wrong way. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but I mean, I'm sure all of them had kind of scripts that they were supposed to follow from front office. They tell him, hey, don't say anything too crazy. Don't call anybody out. Don't tell them anything that they don't know. But just the way they handle this situation was just so bad. You see it all the time when people get caught for steroids and stuff. Nobody, you just once want to hear someone say, yeah, I messed up. I tried getting an advantage. I tried getting a leg up on the competition. It worked, but I'm sorry I got caught. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Nobody owns up to their mistakes. They kind of try to sweep it on the rug. They say, Jim Crane says things like, oh, it didn't really affect the competition, didn't affect the game, which is obviously not true. Just there's no accountability in actually owning up for your mistakes.
The one thing I saw with this and what all the players were saying is, we're ready for this year. That was like their message. Like, let's just get this all behind us. But fans of baseball and teams that were directly affected by this are pissed off, and they don't want to hear these guys just say, all right, let's go on to this year. They want them to own up to their mistakes, and that's what they're not doing.
Well, all right. So when you look at the Astros, right? Obviously, they have a tremendous, a tremendously talented group of guys. Their team used to be so bad, and you literally saw this team grow up in front of your eyes. And to a lot of sports fans, this team was a model franchise, and they were a team that you could get behind and kind of be happy for. But now, when you just look at this Astros team and everything that's been dug up and uncovered, you just all you can do is hate this. All you can do is hate this team because they were so talented, but yet you really don't know if they would have won if they didn't cheat. Now, how can Jim Crane say that whatever they did didn't impact the game? Obviously, what they did impacted the game. It doesn't make sense. I understand that their team is very talented and maybe they could have won, but if you had to cheat all year and now you're saying that didn't impact what we did, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, these guys are turning into New England Patriots
Doesn't make
levels
sense.
of hatreds because people don't believe you. They feel like you cheated them out of championships. Must be how Los Angeles Rams and St. Louis Rams fans felt with the whole Spygate and everything. So it's just really an unfortunate situation for one of the franchises that was at the forefront of baseball for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I got to say, AJ Hinch did an interview with MLB Network a few days ago, and obviously he's not in a position where he has a job, so he could kind of come out and say these things where he's really apologetic. He's the manager, so it's all on him, And I thought that was a very genuine interview. He was very emotional during it. I mean, it came with high cost, so that's probably where the emotion comes from. But I got to give it to him for really owning up to it, saying, I'm the manager. This is all on me. I should have stopped it. He was kind of throwing blame a little bit to the players and to Cora, not directly, but you could see that the way he was talking. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good interview AJ Hinch had.
Well, speaking of managers, and more specifically players that were on that team, news came out that Carlos Beltran was the ringleader. He was a bully. He couldn't be stopped. He was intimidating. So with all this stuff coming out, do you believe this? What Carlos Correa said was straight up bullshit.
Well, the way that the commissioner's report had it was that Beltran was this kind of senior figure that kind of guided them through implementing this process and was kind of the more vocal supporters of this process, of this cheating. So I mean, it's believable. I mean, there's no way to prove it. This is all just hearsay. Correa came up and shot it down, but of course he's probably good friends with him. He played with him. So he's gonna say his favorite player growing up. So obviously he's not gonna say, "Oh, yep, that's all true. It was all his fault." So he's gonna kind of defend his guy.
So what's really bothering me about this thing, and I keep saying, and it's bothering me because nobody wants to take blame. Everybody keeps putting it on somebody else. Now you could say it was Carlos Beltran, you could say it was the players, you could say it was the front office, but the bottom line is, it was everybody's fault. They all have to take responsibility for themselves and stop putting it on a guy who's not even with the team anymore. It's honestly annoying, and I don't see Carlos Beltran as a type of person
Absolutely not
to be intimidating.
Like a bully. That part of it
doesn't make any
sense.
I can't see it. And why would he do this in his final season?
Well, they made him out to be this psychopath who wouldn't let you not cheat. It was a little weird.
The way they made it sound was that he came into Houston. It was like, hey, you guys, your whole sign decoding, your whole technological aspect of the game is way behind everybody else. And the way the players kind of sounded was saying they justified the cheating by saying all the other teams have their own ways of finding their own advantage. So why not find our own way to do this and get a leg up on them instead of them doing the same thing to us? So they're trying to stay kind of ahead of the curve.
And one thing would happen with that interview that I was just talking about with AJ Hinch. I think it was mid-season of 2017, and a report came out by Manfred giving it all to every GM, saying, hey, we're talking about sign stealing with technology that needs to be stopped. So every GM was supposed to get that memo and then give it off to the manager and the team. And it was Luro, right? That was the
Jeff Lunho.
Or yeah, whatever.
Jeff Lunau.
Yeah, Lunau. He never gave it to AJ Hinch. Hinch never got the memo from the commissioner's office. So that's a terrible thing. You obviously know that there is it's just a bad look. I can't say it any other way. That's just a terrible look for your franchise.
Also, what's annoying too, whenever they were asking Jim Crane or Altuve today, oh, did you guys cheat? Going back to this year, did you guys use buzzers? They will say that no, the MLB didn't find evidence that we use buzzers. They didn't say
they never shot it down. They danced around the question.
They danced around it. They should have said no, it never happened. How dare you ask that question? It's embarrassing. They said no, MLB didn't find evidence of. They didn't say no, we didn't do it.
Hinch said the same thing. He was asked about it, but he kind of didn't give a concrete answer. He kind of danced around it.
Well, to stay on that topic, a question this week from Sarah DeLucia says, buy or sell, Astros did not use buzzers to cheat. So you believe in them or you not believe in them?
It's hard to say because you can't take anything they say. They said they immediately shot down the whole sign stealing thing as soon as it came out. Mm-hmm. So no matter what they say, you can't make a judgment based off that. But I just can't buy it that you're using a buzzer system in an MLB league, a major league professional league, and nobody found out about it. Hardcore proof.
Yeah, I can't buy that either. That actually happened. But those interviews, like we were just mentioning, did not help whatsoever.
No.
I mean, it was kind of funny the day on Twitter when everyone was doing the little wrinkle thing. I thought that was funny. I didn't think anything of it. I think there might be a little to it. I mean, the MLB, all the Astros players said, didn't find any evidence on it. But there still could be a little that we don't know,
Yeah, I can't see how you can say that they were using the buzzers, at least not yet. I mean, they haven't technically said they haven't been using them, but it just seems like such a crazy thing that would be happening that you would know about it, and I think it would have came out already, and I feel like that would be pretty easy to investigate and find some concrete evidence.
And if somebody's coming out like fires for the signs thing, somebody would have came out, some former player would have came out and said something about the
Probably.
buzzers. 'Cause that's a lot bigger of a
Yeah.
deal.
Well,
Well,
all
you
right,
go.
all right. So I absolutely believe that the buzzers were going on.
course you do.
I mean, no, there's just so much. How can you believe this team after everything, after all the lies they've spewed? I mean, you could even take it back to the season with the manager saying, "Why would we try to steal Steins? If we wanted to bother the Yankees, by whistling, we would have done it earlier." This team is a team that mocks, and this is just what they do. And honestly, you can go back to even what Gary Sanchez said yesterday, right? Let's say you hit a home run that sends you to the World Series. Your first reaction is no, don't rip off my jersey. No, absolutely, you could rip off anything. You rip off my shirt, I'll run around the bases naked if that means I'm going to the World Series. Now, I honestly think that it is going to come out eventually that they use the buzzers, and that's why they won't deny it. That's why they won't shut it down. And there's not going to be a player who's going to come out and say that, because if they use that in 2019, that just happened. Now, Mike Fiers was on the team in 2017, so maybe a few years down the line you have somebody who's spills the beans. But right now, this is what we have to go for.
Yeah, but I think that would have came out already, and they already closed the investigation on the buzzers. So
I don't think it's
I don't
close.
know.
I mean,
There's no way.
if they find like undisputable evidence, then obviously that investigation is going to open. But like you said, that's going to have to take a couple years before former players come out and say something about it.
yeah, well, moving on to a different topic in baseball. Mike Bertrand wants to know a little bit about the new MLB proposed playoff changes. So we have Dan DeLucia here to tell us all about those.
To crack the code.
Yeah, so this is a lot of information, and I had to read it over a lot because, frankly, it's pretty confusing. So the gist of it, to put it into dummy terms, is you have 7 teams that make the playoffs, which is pretty crazy to
In
think
each
7
league, though,
teams.
so 14 teams total.
Well, 7 teams that make it in a conference. Sorry.
Yeah, so 14
In a league.
out of 30 teams make the playoffs.
Yes, almost half the
which-
league, which
that-
is
it-
terrible.
But also
You look
in
at
the
every other
NBA and
sport,
NHL,
yeah.
they make 16.
I get that. I get that. But I think baseball's different.
Of course.
Coming away from this, so we have 7 teams. We're going to look at it as a, per se, it's the AL teams. We wrote down some fake teams just to say something. But what I look at it is with the 7 teams, there's 3 tiers. So the 1 seed, per se, we'll say it's the Yankees. They get a bye for the first, I think it's called the wild card round or something
Yes.
like that.
So they go right into the ALDS.
Yeah, so then you have 2 division winners, per se. The Indians and the A's win their divisions. They're 2 and 3, so they're going to automatically get in. Now, the 4 seed is the best wild card record team, but don't look at it as a wild card team because they're automatically going to get 3 games home field advantage. And then you have 5, 6, and 7 that are the 3 remaining wild card teams with the best records in that league. So if you're the Indians, who's the 2 seed in this scenario, you look at the Indians would have a choice between the last 3 remaining teams, and being the Mariners, Blue Jays, and Orioles. The A's would get the next best, and then the Rangers would play the remaining team. And if you're the 2, 3, or 4 seed, you get 3 games at home. So what are your opinions on that?
Well, for me, I have an interesting story about this. So in my class on Monday, it's called Sports Reporting, and the first topic we had was about this MLB proposed playoff format, brought up by none other than Corey Jason, and he hates it, of course. But to start it off, my professor's like, all right, raise your hand if you like this proposal. 19 out of 20 people didn't raise their hand. The only person to raise their hand was me.
Here we go.
I do like this new playoff proposal because it adds a hell of a lot of intrigue. I like the picking your opponent thing. A lot of people don't like that. I think that's awesome. I think that's cool. I think that would be great television. I think that would create an interesting series. Like, imagine saying, hey, you're not that good. I want to face you instead of this team, and then losing to that team. I think that would be interesting.
Make a good story.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a good story. And I know baseball, it needs to get moved forward. I know there are different ways to move a game forward, and I know that a lot of baseball purists hate Rob Manfred for this. But the guy's trying. The guy, Trevor Bauer, that interview he did was just ridiculous. It was completely bullshit, and he was completely wrong with every single fucking thing he said. But Rob Manfred is trying here, and I'll put myself out there. I like the playoff format.
I got to say real quick, of the 4 major sports that we have in our country, baseball has the oldest average age of a fan being, I think, 57 compared to the other 3. So with this meaning, the average fan being so old, it's a lot of purists. So most of fans are not going to like this. Personally, I don't really like it. I like how baseball makes it more competitive during the regular season by having less teams. I liked the addition of the wild card in 2012. I thought that made it a good enough shakeup. The one game, your whole season's on the line, makes an incredible story. I mean, you saw it. The fifth seed this year won the World Series, being the Nationals. So,
Well, fourth.
or what?
They were the fourth.
Oh yeah, they're 4
4
seed.
5.
Sorry, they're 4 seed. The Brewers were the 5th seed. My bad. But yeah, I mean, a wild card team's winning it all. Like, I like it how it is.
Well, when you look at the baseball playoff format, I personally love it. I think it's perfect. I don't think it should be touched. If anything should be touched, maybe you could argue that the wild card should be a best 2 out of 3 instead of a 1-game playoff. All right, I can see that argument, and it definitely makes sense. But to have 14 out of 30 teams make it, 47% of the teams make it to the playoffs, I think that is ridiculous. I do not think it's necessary at all. And honestly, I think if you're gonna move the game forward, I don't think this is the way you do it. There's a lot of ways, to move the game forward. To have cross promotional with other platforms, cross promote it with the NBA and NFL. Just make baseball look cool. But this, to me, it's not a smart way to just do business. I think it's dumb. You're having a reality show type feel for the MLB playoffs when this is the most important part of the season, and it's not necessary to me.
Yeah, there's a few things I don't like about this. First off, I don't like the whole. I agree with you. I don't like the whole choosing who you're gonna play. I just think that's. I mean, it's a cool idea. I'm sure it'll get a lot of more people to kind of pay attention to it. But I just think it's a corny kind of move to have someone have the power to pick a team, and that's not how playoffs work in professional sports, and it's not like that in any other league. And the other thing I don't like about it is I don't think there should ever be 7 teams in a league making the playoffs. You look at last year, the Diamondbacks make the playoffs last year in this format. That's unreal. The Diamondbacks were not even close to a playoff team last year. They had a winning record, but you look at the Diamondbacks, you look at the Mets. The Mets had a good second half, but they're not a playoff team last year. They didn't deserve to make the playoffs. Diamondbacks didn't deserve to make the playoffs. These teams, it's not like basketball where, I mean, I also don't think why, I don't even know why basketball has under 500 teams making the playoffs.
And that happens pretty frequent.
Like almost every single year is under 500 team making it. I don't agree with that either, but that's another topic. But yeah, I just don't like the amount of players, the amount of teams that they would add.
Well, you're going to see that with this format. I mean, chances are there's going to be the 7th seed is going to have a losing.
Last year, I mean, it could obviously happen.
I mean,
last year they would all be winning.
Look at the American League; it's a very top-heavy league. So once you're getting
baseball's always been top-heavy. It's a very small middle ground.
Especially in the American League, it's the most top-heavy we've seen it in a while. Yeah, I forget my other point, but go on.
Well, my opinion on the reality style TV show thing, I actually like that, and I think that would be awesome. I think everybody loves watching Selection Sunday for March Madness. Imagine the night before the playoff. Well, obviously it would be the night before. Maybe the last night of the regular season. They come on TBS with Ernie Johnson, and who would pick who plays who? Would it be the players? Would it be the front office?
Probably
would it be the analytical team?
Probably the manager.
They come on. That'd be awesome. And then you see the clubhouses. I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool. And then you can get live reactions from who's playing who.
I think that's less of an issue for me than 7 teams.
Well, my thing with the 7 teams, too, is first off, in 2 of the 4 major sports in America, they have 16 teams making it.
Yeah.
And their playoffs haven't faltered from this
well, I don't like the NBA because the NBA, the 8 seeds have pretty much no shot. You see, look like the NHL, and they have a decent shot.
Well, you've seen it
in the last 10 years.
So I agree with the NHL point, but I don't. I think the NBA playoff format is stupid.
Well, the NBA has been the parity of the NBA for the last couple of years hasn't been good, but now it's coming back. The MLB, you have teams who will try to rebuild for 5-6 years. This could incentivize them to stop these ridiculously long rebuilds and tanking. Like the Orioles could be back half the league. If
it's a 162 game regular season,
if
7 teams make it, then that diminishes so much value of the regular season. The regular season is so intense in baseball because you need every game,
especially down the stretch.
You need games in March. You need games in September.
You shouldn't be penalized though for having a couple bad stretches.
Yes, you should. Every other league is like that.
How fair would it be if, let's say, a 79-win team how is a 79-win team, for example, a playoff team? That doesn't make any sense. I don't care if you have to play a 105-win team. It's still it's not fair. You're not that good. you shouldn't be anywhere near the playoffs.
Well, if the 105 win team can't beat the 79 win team, then they're not as good as we thought.
But there's no reason for that team to even be in the conversation for a playoff spot. If you're not good enough,
But it's rewarding teams for winning 79 games, which should ever be a thing in baseball.
no, I think if you can't win, your division and you can't, get one of the 2 wild cards, then you're not good enough.
It's saying, hey, you low market teams, don't invest in your club, because if you can sneak in with 80 wins, you can sell that to your fan base of being a winning team.
Yeah. Going back to the point where you're choosing your opponent, out of 10 times, how often do you think that 2 seed is going to pick the worst team?
It's going to happen 9 out of 10 times.
9 out of 10 times.
Yes.
So it might not even come to really big of a factor, right? Like,
that's what I'm saying. I really don't think it's that big of an issue. It just seems a little corny.
they're going to pick the worst team.
It's
I
too
don't know.
much. It's too much going on. It's not necessary.
But the only thing I do like about the selection would be because there's kind of a strategy to it. You say, there's this team that strikes out a lot, and we have a power pitching staff, so we want to go against them, even though they're not like the worst team. So there could be some like maneuverability with that.
Or you might want to pick, if you're an East Coast team, might want to pick a West Coast team.
There's a whole bunch of different factors that can
If
make
you're
it
a West
like a
Coast
tough
team, you
decision.
might say, hey, come play on the other side of the country and try to beat us
Well,
here.
I
Who
hate
knows?
the fact that you have to play all 3 games and the better.
Well, if you're
the
making
better teams
if you're making
are. That's
4
scary.
wild cards, then yeah, there
It's
should
like
be
the
some
wild
downside.
card round is like an extension of the regular season. It's like one series for the home team to try to win. You win the series, you move on.
That's a little scary. That's
I like
too
that.
much.
But
man.
But if you do 2-1, then a 7 seed gets to host a playoff game. I don't see that should be a thing.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got if you're
I
gonna do it
agree
this
with
way,
the three road
home games.
yeah.
That I really like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm the lone one here. Just like I was a lone one in class. I
It's
do
not,
like
it's
the
not
new
MLB
playoff
the show,
format.
Steve.
Hey, I don't know if this is gonna go through. A modified version of this might go through.
They always
They're
when
saying
they
this-
have these proposals, they always start really bold and they cut some stuff out of it.
I
and they
think
settle
if
on
they
something.
want to try this,
I-
they should try it in the minors.
And I do think they're going to add another playoff team. I think they're going to increase the playoffs
It should be 6.
because they need more teams in the playoffs. Whether I agree with it or not, baseball needs it.
Mhm.
But I really don't like how the playoff format is now. I want to see a best 2 out of 3 for the wild card instead of a one. I hate the 1-game playoff. And if you're going to expand it, you can do it without the selection. I don't think the selection would ever get passed by owners.
Well, I also think that the word choice of reality was a tough choice. You could have used a better word
That's a very
than
rough
that,
word
because
to put
that
in there.
kind of made people think, oh, it's like Jersey Shore. Baseball is like Jersey Shore, and that kind of messed with people's minds. But maybe if you go 6 teams to do it more like the football
That's
style,
just
give
2
bye
buys.
weeks.
That's the only other that or a 3-game wild card
Mhm.
series. Those are the only 2 options that I would
So
be. very
I like
okay with.
I like that, and I like the 7
If they did like a 6-team 2 buys, I think what they should do with the 3-game series is have the team with the better record choose when that lower team has their home game in the 3 games. So they could say we want them to play home at first game, and then we get the next 2 home games.
I would like.
I think that would make it
I think
interesting.
every team would go home, away, home.
Well, then that makes it
Ideally.
more traveling on them.
Yeah, it's
Well,
more traveling.
Yeah, but you'd want to start off the series. You want to get that first game out of the way.
Yeah.
And start out 1-0, and then you want to end. The
You never
series
know.
at
I
home.
think that would be. I mean,
think-
it's
think
just
would
like
probably
it goes
be
back to
home,
picking
home
your
away.
opponent.
Home away. Because
I don't think you'd be allowed to do away.
why not?
No, under that rule, it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you
Hypothetically.
want.
But you don't want a
hypothetically.
game 3 on the road if you're the better team.
No, but you don't want to play 3 games.
I think some
But
teams
you
might
can't
try to go
guarantee
away,
that.
home.
You want to make sure if push comes to shove, you have that home game, third game.
All right, well, that's all we got for baseball today, and that was a lot to go through, some debates. But let's move on to the Pablo Power Player of the Week for this week. And who's that going to be, Pablo?
All right, Steve. So obviously, you guys know we said it on last week's show that we were going to go to the XFL game. Now, we obviously did not disappoint. We went to the XFL game, the first ever game in XFL Guardians history. I praise to be a Vipers fan, right? But this team got shelled so bad. I don't know. All I have to say is my Pablo Power Player of the Week is Matt McGloin. This guy, he completely converted me from a Vipers fan to a Guardians fan, and
In 1 week.
He wasn't even the XFL Player of the Week.
it's honestly kind of ridiculous. This guy
You're a
completely
fraud.
completely dominated
He's a
the
guard
competition.
dog.
He completely all eyes were on Matt McGloin. When you think about Matt McGloin, you think about the XFL. When you think about the XFL,
I don't
this-
think about Matt
this
McGloin
guy,
in the
this
XFL,
guy
man.
is the new face of the XFL.
Face?
He's
Yeah, I
going to be the
don't know about
MVP.
that.
He's going to be the MVP of the league.
I don't think so.
Bro,
He wasn't even top 3 in Player of the Week voting. Come on.
No, he was.
Hey, we got our
He
XFL
had a good game.
predictions coming up.
All
after this
I have to
segment.
say is he's the Pablo player of the week. And what also went into my reason for not being a Vipers fan, aside from the fact that they got absolutely shelled,
Because they stink and you don't want to watch a losing team.
they didn't
You're a
sell.
shit
They didn't
fan.
sell any Vipers merch.
It's
in-
what you're in
What
New York.
York
Team sells their merch in the
Yeah.
home stadium.
But there's only 8 teams.
Okay, I'm trying to tell him that,
There's only
but-
8 teams.
that doesn't happen anywhere.
I figured they would advertise.
Honestly,
in
they
this stadium.
should have done that because
There's
this
only-
is a new league.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get some merch out even if you're an away team.
How
They
many
probably should have
Vipers
done
fans
that.
do you think there were there?
There were a lot of
There were a
Viper
lot of
fans. They
Viper
were
fans.
wearing like
just
like
Lyin
Viper
thing.
onesies. Some people had custom jerseys. Like they were all out.
It was sick, but
They were booing them. They were cursing them out. It was great.
I'm never the one to fall into trends. You know, I didn't want to go for the New York team because Steve was going for it or because everybody from this area was going for the New York Guardians. See, if I were into trends, I would have a TikTok. I would post videos with the broom, you know, standing up.
You would be a Yankee fan.
Yeah, you would be a Yankee fan if you were.
No, I would be a Mets fan since all you guys
Yeah,
here are
'cause
Mets
Mets
fans.
are really
See,
trendy.
I never go with the hype. I never go with
Mets
what's
have the hype.
cool. So all I
Got
have
it.
to say is I now pledge allegiance to the Guardians. The Guardians, you guys have my heart, and I hope you get me an XFL Super Bowl trophy. Thank
And in,
Super Bowl.
and in 1 week of the XFL, you have rooted for 2 teams.
you. Well,
We'll see if that changes
So it's
this
always
week.
Louise,
Again,
1-1
you might take
right
the
now,
you
though.
might take
You
the
made
DC
it-
Defenders.
You made it 3 days.
the Vipers
as a
were
Vipers fan.
so
He
bro,
was shell shocked.
They were so bad. It was like okay. When the game first started, I couldn't believe my eyes. I had never seen a game where it was completion. First down. Vipers have the ball. Completion, interception. Oh.
No, that Guardians defense, baby.
I don't know. It was
Going
bad.
off.
It was so bad.
NYPD.
Well, for my Samra story of the week, before we get into the XFL, I'm going to talk about Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is my Samra story of the week because he's had a hell of a week. He started off the week as a complete villain, getting booed, posting on Instagram saying he was going to leave the 76ers. Jimmy Butler said, I know a place where villains are welcome, implying that he would go to the Heat. Everywhere I was talking about that he was going to leave the Sixers. Then he puts up 26-9, blocks Marcus Morris, gets in a pushing match, shows that he's got some heart, and they beat the Clippers at home, and the 76ers fans love this guy again. So I'm a big Joel Embiid fan. I think that he handled the situation really great. It could have turned into a really ugly thing with the 76ers fans, but this guy's perfect for that city, and I think he'll be there for a while. But to turn this into something else, a question we have this week from Tarek Al-Casey says, would you rather have Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons? So what are your guys' thoughts on that question?
Personally, I think if you're going to build a team, I think Ben Simmons he does more. You know, he adds more to his game. I mean, he's the 6'9" point guard. You know, he passes the ball great. He has great post-up game for a point guard. He's a pretty decent defender. He could hit the mid-range, you know. So looking at that, I think he's a better sell than Joel Embiid. And just like you said, terrible week for Joel. Like the whole laziness thing, too, we were talking about, I think, 2 weeks ago. I would rather have Simmons to build a team around.
Now, Andrew, I'm going to skip you for a second. When you look at Joel Embiid and you look at Ben Simmons, right? This guy, he's a forward. You would think that he would shoot threes and not really dunk as much, but he does the opposite as Embiid. He dunks, doesn't shoot threes. Embiid doesn't dunk, and he tries to shoot threes, and he sucks at it.
Simmons does suck at shooting threes, by the way.
But I personally think that Embiid suffers from Odell Beckhamitis.
Wow.
He hasn't been diagnosed, but now he's being diagnosed by myself. This is a guy who only shows up when he wants to. Personally, I just don't like players like this. You should always give your 110%. If you're gonna be fired up for one game and not the others, why even show up? How can you even look your fellow teammates in the eye after being the way you are in a season and lazy, and then out of nowhere, if somebody talks crap, everybody's doubting me, I'm just going to show up for the rest of the team. That is ridiculous. And all I'm saying is if you show up day 1, you better show up day 2, day 3, day 10. You better show up in the playoffs. You better show up when you're down by 20. You better show up every single game.
You're very passionate about that.
Very.
If I'm building a team, I'd rather build it around Ben Simmons. I think they're both hell of a player. They're both a hell of a player. They're both great players. I'm not a big fan of Embiid's character. I think he's, I don't know, I say corny a lot on this show, but I do think he's a little corny too. So yeah, Go with Simmons.
If I had to choose, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to pick Joel Embiid because this guy is the second best defensive center in the league, and the first being Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the offense because Rudy Gobert can't even hold a finger to Joel Embiid on offense.
There we go.
Joel Embiid is arguably the best center in the entire league. And if you can build a team around him with scorers and shooters, obviously the problem this year has not been Joel Embiid. It's been that Tobias Harris is absolutely fucking terrible this year. He looks terrible. He can't shoot. He was signed to a max contract and can't do anything. They let go of JJ Redick, which hurts more than 76ers fans want to admit. Their point guard can't shoot. So they have no outside shooters. I like Ben Simmons, but if you surround Joel Embiid with some scorers, this guy, he would be even better. So that would be my take. If you can put some shooters around him,
or you can get some shooters around Ben Simmons. It works the same way.
Yeah, but the shooters don't usually play center. They play point guard.
But you still get a big man shooters around Ben Simmons.
Listen, I like Ben Simmons a lot too. This is a tough decision, but that would be my choice as Embiid. If you can put Embiid, you put him on a team like, say, the Jazz or like or I'm going to say the Warriors, but anybody be good in the Warriors. You put him on the Warriors, they might never lose a freaking game. So I'm going to go with Embiid.
They lose some games this year, let me tell you.
Yeah, but
no Steph for Clay.
They'll be back next year. Well, let's go to the XFL. We're going to talk about week 1, our thoughts on this brand new league. Of course, me and Pablo, the big Guardians fans on this side of the table, were there. I converted him. And what? What, Andrew?
Are we doing that?
Don't look at your sheet. Look at your sheet. Andrew's trying to go out of order. He's on the wrong side.
Oh, there's 2 pages.
So we're talking about the XFL here. Andrew, get with the program.
Well, because we were just talking about basketball, so I thought we were going to go into a basketball segment.
Well, then we skip. Okay, whatever. We're not skipping the XFL. I'm not skipping the XFL.
Let's hit the XFL up.
So the winners of last week's games were the DC Defenders, the Houston Roughnecks, the New York Guardians, and Andrew's St. Louis Battlehawks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's cute.
What's ironic about that is all 4 of these teams play each other.
Oh, yeah. It's all 1-0 teams versus all 0-1 teams.
See, they knew that. That's why they scheduled like this.
It's like the playoffs, basically.
Yeah.
But so out of those 4 teams, which teams and which players impressed you in week 1 of the XFL?
Well, obviously, my St. Louis Battlehawks impressed me. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Jordan Ta'amu from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
He had played a hell of a game. He finished second in Player of the Week voting. He was third in the league in rushing as a quarterback. They also had Matt Jones, the leading rusher in the XFL, so he impressed me really well. That defense showed up in Dallas against a Bob Stoops coach team. They showed out.
Oh yeah, so did a little sweatshirt change. Got a little hot, so that's what happened there. But anyway, so what pissed me off with my Dallas Renegades was freaking Philip Nelson as quarterback, not Landry Jones.
You mean not Trevor Knight?
No, all right, yeah, I said Trevor Knight like 20 times last week. I definitely apologize for that. Landry Jones, he's coming back next week. But Philip Nelson, you want to know about Philip Nelson? He went to ECU. He played quarterback there. Didn't get a job, so you know what he did? He was an underwear model on Instagram a couple weeks ago.
So you and him have something.
So they throw this guy on at quarterback, and he does nothing for the team. They score 9 points, man. Like he couldn't make any plays. His deep ball was
you can't move the ball in that St. Louis defense.
We don't know that
who
yet.
You put there. You can put Matt McGloin in there. You can put Matt Zonak there. It doesn't matter. They're not moving the ball.
All right. Well, Philip Nelson just could not throw the ball deep downfield. It was terrible. Wait till the MVP Landry Jones comes into play this week. That's a lock. Not Danny D's lock of the week. That's dead until next football season. Sorry to tell you. But it's a lock. Dallas is going to win. Give me all that.
Well, speaking of MVPs, the MVP of the league right now is DC Defenders quarterback Cardale Jones. This guy had a fantastic game in his first game back in football, and he looked great for the DC Defenders. He played a great game. He was running. He was throwing. He looked like he did at Ohio State. Those red unis looked nice on that in the Audi field. It was packed.
Red unis never look nice.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan.
That's a disgusting.
Only looked good because 12 Gauge was wearing it.
Of
but
course,
besides
yeah.
that,
I was a fan. I'll go out on a limb. Pep Hamilton, my boy, he was a good coach. I loved the presentation of the XFL on television. I thought that was cutting edge. Man, them going on the sidelines immediately after a play.
Oh, the reporting was amazing.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I don't know how I felt
nothing was
about
off limits too. It was crazy.
Well,
the kicker would miss a kick and immediately they interviewed them.
It was kind of scary. I mean, watching it, from our standpoint, I mean, they're going to snap the ball in 2 seconds. You still have the camera guy right next to the quarterback and say, whoa, I got to move.
Yeah.
But when
It's
you look,
definitely a different
It adds a different
perspective.
layer to watch.
I thought
Yeah.
it was awesome. And normally I think NFL games are kind of on the boring side. This had no stoppage. The game just kept going and going and going. And I know if you watch it on TV, it's like there's no commercials. It's like, why go to commercial right when the action is going to happen? You go to the commercial when all the action isn't happening.
Yeah.
And this is genius. I absolutely love the idea of the 1 point, the 2 point, the 3 point for the
Big
extra
fan.
points.
I'm a big fan of
It
that.
is genius. This is what the NFL, when you talk about rule changes, MLB, take some fucking notes. This is what you got to do. You got to rule change in the positive way. And the XFL, they know what they're doing, and they know how to gain ratings. They know how to get the young crowd to agree with them and to watch and to put some eyes on the product. I'm going to stop you right there. Also, what I liked about the crowd was
Electric.
The crowd was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we had this guy in front of us collecting cups. Dan, I'm pretty sure it was you because he looked just like you.
Thank you.
He was collecting cups. I want to say for an entire 10 minutes, I didn't watch one snap of the game because we were watching you collect all these cups. This guy,
Shout out Cup Guy.
shout out Cup Guy.
Section 126.
It's on our Instagram if you want to follow us at Before the Score. We actually took a video of him. Go like.
Subscribe to it.
This guy was collecting cups, right? And the whole time you have guys just throwing cups. Cups are hitting little kids in the head. It was
You
crazy.
got hit in the head with a hand warmer.
No, the guy in front of us. The dude threw a hand warmer, landed on his head. It just stood there.
And
Anyway, so
it was funny.
like these people, right? They're creating a ruckus. They get kicked out.
security comes.
Security comes, and all I know is like the last 20 seconds of the game, they just come right back into the crowd. It was so fun. And honestly, I can't remember the last time I had that much fun.
All right, you done talking? My God.
That was a good XFL rant right there.
I have so many points that I want to make, but I'm going to forget all.
about any NFL take.
Oh, real quick before Dan can make all his points.
Oh
he's
my
gonna forget
God.
About. Yes, as Pablo said, I'm a big fan of the XFL, and to add on to that, I've been to 3 Giant games last year. I left MetLife Stadium depressed after every single one. That place is a hellhole to me. I can't stand going there anymore. I went for the XFL. I don't think we sat down until the third quarter. It was like there was that much to just watch and stand up for. Giant games, I think I sat the whole first half. Like sometimes with Eli Manning when he was back there, that's what it was like. So I don't know, man. I'm a big fan so far.
Yeah, I'll get back to the stadium point in a second, but I want to give a lot of props to Oliver Luck, who is the commissioner of the XFL.
I've never
First
heard
of
that
all,
guy.
he's Andrew Luck's dad.
Yeah.
So you probably know who he is now.
He's
Maybe,
the
I hope.
commissioner of the XFL,
Yeah.
the league you love.
I thought
Yeah.
Shane McMahon was the commissioner.
No, he's the owner.
He was actually at
Not
the game.
Shane
No,
McMahon.
Vince
Vince,
is the owner.
Vince, Vince is the owner.
I know.
Shane-
Was at the game.
It's
I wish
Oh,
Shane
really?
was the
It's a
owner.
joke. That's your
All
point.
right.
That is my point.
So props to Oliver Luck. I love how they got the great TV deals. Like
Yep.
props to them, and like having Pat McAfee on the sideline with the microphone,
Oh, he was
interviewing
great.
people.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. It was fun. And the thing I gotta say, which my number one takeaway. What a great weekend for the XFL, by the way. But the number one takeaway is what the NFL needs to implement is those replay reviews.
Mhm.
Watching
yeah.
the people
Hearing them
make the
communicate.
decisions, watching them point out to every single thing, having a lot of I don't know the word real
Revolutionary.
Transparency.
yeah, transparency. That's not what I was going for, but yeah, whatever. I'll go with that word. Having a lot of transparency up there, giving these guys so much responsibility and showing exactly what they're looking at, and keeping them to a high standard. That's what the NFL needs because there's so many rules that we see and calls that just don't go certain ways, and we're all confused about this and that. You get a screen there, you have someone watching it, telling exactly part of the play. It just makes the game so much better.
Did you also hear that they showed the audio? They showed the audio of the coaches and the quarterback. Like
Oh, yeah.
the plays going into the quarterback.
I didn't like that.
was wonderful.
I didn't like
loved
that, first of all.
Really, I like.
You
I
ne-
love
you
that.
never get to hear what that's
I
like.
get it.
As a
I'm
fan,
watching the
you
game.
love
I'm
that.
hearing Jim Zorn call the play,
Yeah.
and then I see the exact play happening. Greg McElroy is
It's like-
telling me
it's
what's
like
gonna
Tony
happen.
Romo.
Yeah.
I get that point, but coaches need. I think it's just if that can never go in the NFL because that's just a distraction.
No,
It'll
that'll
never
never
go
go
in
in the NFL. But that's perfect for the XFL.
I guess for the XFL, but it's such a distraction for these coaches because you can't curse. You're being monitored. You can't curse on ABC,
Well, they have-
ESPN. You can't curse as if you're getting interviewed.
On live TV, there's always a 7-second delay.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. So you saw the video of the guy getting reported on. He dropped an F-bomb. Like
Well-
it doesn't. It's not quick enough
Sure,
sometimes.
let them do it then.
Well,
I personally like
it's-
Jim Zorn when the Seattle Dragons fumbled at the 4-yard line. They showed him in slow motion. He's like, "Oh gosh darn!
Yeah,
you
I
have
saw
to be
that.
kidding me!"
Yeah.
I was crying. I'm like,
Oh, man.
this is-
Can I
this guy's
express my hatred for the Seattle Dragons
Yes.
and them
Oh my
not
God.
scoring 2 points the
In a
entire
quarter.
fourth quarter when they're down 2 scores? They couldn't score 2 points.
Let's talk
Terrible.
about that. The over hits, and the man runs into the kicker. They take the points off the board immediately. I'm like, me and
There's
Andrew
like
had
9
money on
minutes
the
left
over.
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I
9
think.
minutes. I'm like, there's a lot of time left, but I had a bad feeling. I'm like, man, it's not going to hit anymore. So they take the points off the board. They keep driving. They get down to the 10-yard line. It's fourth
They're
down.
the 3-yard.
They
Yeah.
barely
They pick it up.
They pick it up
They-
but
by
They
review.
had to review it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, he didn't get. At first, I'm freaking out. I'm like, that's a horrible spot. Then they reviewed it, and it's like, oh, it wasn't even close. He picked
Yeah.
it up.
Bro,
Then he
how'd they
fumbles
get it?
on the next
on the
play.
3-yard line. It's first and goal on the 3-yard line.
Unbelievable.
Any team can score that. If you don't score, kick a field
Yeah,
goal.
they
It
fumbled
still
on a read
hits.
option.
Talking about that, the first bet I ever made once I turned 21, I was watching some college football game, and I don't remember what game it was, but my roommates will remember this. Yeah, I had the over in a game, and I think it was 5 points. I needed 5 more points, and the running back there on the 1-yard line runs out, and he stretches for the goal line,
And he fumbles.
fumbles, touchback.
Touchback.
They 6 minutes left. The team drives with 6 minutes left and just complete runs out the clock. I want to blow my brains out. Anyway, going back to Cardell Jones real quick because I forgot when Pablo was ranting. Looking at every game in the XFL, watching every single one, it was no joke that guy was the most professional. Like you could just see on the screen, he could be on an NFL roster. I mean, he was.
He is the most NFL style
Yes.
quarterback there.
Yes, but he looked the best. Like, and of any player I watched, he looked the most like this guy's above this league.
Well,
like he's better than this.
The quarterback from Houston balled out.
Yeah, PJ Walker.
Yeah,
He
PJ
threw 3
Walker.
touchdowns.
Shout out
Yeah.
Temple Owls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome seeing him get a shot and him playing well. But let's make some predictions
Yeah.
for this week 2 of the XFL, because I know I'll be watching. I got a chance to take off work this Saturday, and I was like,
That's
you can have my shift because I want to watch my New York Guardians take on the DC Defenders. So who do you guys got for that game, which is starting off the XFL week?
New York Guardians. Quick point. Sorry, I think they should move to Red Bull Arena. I didn't really like the whole MetLife thing. There was two sections of seats that it was empty. You know, you look at
but
the.
even then, it was loud in there. Like it was weird. It was, very
Because it
loud.
was
It was
concentrated.
ridiculous.
It wasn't huge, but
yes.
it was concentrated.
But
in the
I mean,
lower
you
bowl.
look at the Renegades. It was really cool what they did with the baseball stadium. You look at the DC Defenders having in a soccer stadium. It was
Yeah, now
not a
it feels-
sellout, but it would look really red.
I
and
do
like
think
the
the
crowd
baseball
looks
thing
good.
was cool.
Yeah, the
crowd
baseball
is
thing
out
was
there.
awesome.
I love the
best.
baseball.
Yes, I want smaller stadiums like the Red Bull Arena. I think would look awesome because they would probably sell it
Yeah,
out.
but Vince probably has a deal with MetLife. to
Yes,
host
of
it for
course.
WrestleMania,
I know,
so you
yes,
gotta play
yeah,
there. But,
yeah.
You
No,
know,
I agree, but I think next year they should look into that. Anyway, going to this game,
maybe
the
they'll
Gu-
get big enough they can sell it the whole.
Yeah.
arena.
the Guardians had a great game, like
knows?
you watched. Their defense looked amazing. McGloin had there was one I remember a go route. I forget to who, but he underthrew it, and then the next throw he just threw a fucking dime. Sorry. So yeah, I think the Guardians being 6.5 point underdogs is a lot. I'm gonna take the Guardians plus 6.5, and I could even see them winning in DC.
Well, I don't know. We got that 6.5 line. This line is moving like crazy.
What?
It was 8. It was +8 when we started the show. It's +7 now. You had it as +6.5. I don't know what the line is, but give me the Guardians to
Yeah.
win this. Guardians, my second
Win
favorite team in the
outright.
XFL.
There we go.
DC, they won, but I think that was more of Seattle just being a shit team than DC being that great. I do like Cardell Jones, so I think he'll play fine. But I think New York Guardians are a really well balanced team.
Wait, question: are we doing spread and picks like we did with the NFL season?
Listen,
Why
you don't
not?
have to, but I'm
We
doing
could,
it.
we could.
All right, so
'Cause
everyone-
I'm 1-0 my
all right, we could do this.
game
Make sure
bets.
you say against the spread and what team's gonna win. Fine, I'll take DC to win, but I'm gonna have the Guardians cover.
All right, I'm gonna go with outright. I'm picking my New York Guardians to win this game. DC is a very talented offense. They got Pep Hamilton, who's a great
Mhm.
offensive coordinator. Cardell, who might be the most talented player in the entire league.
Yep.
And Donnell Pumphrey, who I really liked coming out of college. Never really got a shot in the NFL. He was with the Eagles for a little bit, but he looked really good in the first game of the XFL. But the Guardians, they got my I forget his name, Darius Victor, the running back, 5'6", 220,
Yeah, I know.
little
He's
bowling
tiny
ball
guy.
from Towson.
A little Squirtle.
Matt McGloin, these guys are going to go on the road. Defense and run game travels, and they're going to go and win this game in DC.
Steve, I honestly I couldn't agree anymore. And Matt McGloin, I already spewed my love and affection for Matt McGloin. I have my Guardians hat right here. What's their slogan?
Oh, on duty.
I'm on duty. They're on duty. We're all on duty right now. All I have to say right now is
Duty ass.
all I have to say right now is yeah, they're gonna win. I really couldn't tell you how the other teams are because honestly, I get
you know how the Vipers are.
I get a pass because these teams just started to exist. So I don't think I should have a scouting report on all these teams. So as of right now, I only saw the Guardians, and right now to me, the Guardians look like an unstoppable force. They could probably be beat the worst team.
Yeah.
They could probably beat the Browns in the
Nah,
NFL.
no. Let's not make that.
I
point.
mean,
we're not getting into.
I mean, they have a real quarterback. The Browns
Let's move
don't.
on.
But
A point over Baker.
let's not
No, he
go
didn't
there.
just say that.
Honestly, I didn't say this earlier. I just think the XFL is going to get better. I think next year, more and more players are going to be drawn to this sport and to this league, and I could see like prospects and guys coming out of college or guys that are unsure if they want to play in the NFL. I think this is a perfect league.
Or
No
if they
one's
even wanna-
unsure about
Or if
playing
they
the
even
NFL.
want to play in college football.
Yeah.
you could
Exactly.
Maybe use the XFL as that. So that would be cool. Watching top high school prospects say,
From all over the
I'm
world
going to
too.
make some money, you know?
Not
So-
that anyone watches the CFL here in America, maybe in Canada, but this is going to take a big hit to the CFL because more players are going to want to go. That second tier players are going to go to the
Mhm.
XFL, and maybe in years down the road, they could look at high school kids that are seniors that don't want to go to college, want to get paid. They could go to the XFL.
It's just tough for like a freshman, a would-be freshman in college to play against like 28-year-old
There's some
grown
beasts in
men.
high school that
Yeah,
I
there's,
think
there, but it's a
compete.
very small
but
amount.
Would Trevor
It's just
Lawrence be the best
size-wise.
quarterback? in
Well,
the
of course, there's
XFL?
always exceptions,
Yeah.
but I mean, some like 3-4-star recruit from wherever, and,
No,
and,
that's
as a
different.
freshman probably can't compete with a lot.
It would
of
have to
guys
be
physically.
5-star guys.
Trevor Lawrence, he's
But
probably
if
not
you're
going
a
to
5-star
choose
guy,
to play.
you would go
like
to college.
like hypothetically out of high school, he's going to probably choose to play in front of 100,000 people.
It would only be the
Yeah,
it would only
but
it would
you
only
get paid. I'm saying
I
for
don't know.
guys
It
that
would
come
just be
from
because of the money.
from nothing. Would,
come
of
from
course.
nothing, come from the slums that need this money, that want to get out. You know, that's a good opportunity for
Yeah.
them.
Well, let's move on to Tampa Bay at Seattle.
Yeah, like you saw Tampa Bay, Pablo's old team. Pablo, you got to take that Vipers loss. I'm going to tell you. You're responsible for the Week 1 loss. I think Tampa Bay, I don't know. Seattle and Tampa Bay, these are probably the two worst teams in the league right now
so
from what
far.
I watched. And
You know,
Tampa Bay's 2.5-point favorites, right?
Seattle's 2.5.
no,
favorites.
Tampa's 2.5.
Oh, Tampa is really.
Tampa's
okay.
favorite.
Tampa, the road. Oh,
Wow,
man.
they really ain't giving Seattle any respect.
Tampa to Seattle is a very far flight. I'm going to go with the Dragons plus 2.5 and to win.
Yeah, I already said how much I hate the Dragons. Give me the Vipers 2.5 all day. They're gonna win. They're gonna cover.
What
I
did the
think
Vipers
Pablo-
do last game that made you?
the drag. I don't care. I don't care what the Vipers did. They could have lost 50-0. I'm picking them this game. They're gonna win. Seattle is a joke franchise. They're my dead club. We're skipping over that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. They're dead, and Vipers win
Jeez.
big.
Well, Tampa Bay being favored is really from the preseason predictions because Tampa Bay was actually predicted to win the championship by all the experts. They all said this team is by far the best.
Shows you
Tampa
how little
Bay.
they know.
I think Renegades had the best odds, though. I think they were plus 400
Yeah, but
or
Tampa
something.
they're on CBS, ESPN,
Oh, okay.
Fox. Tampa
Experts.
Bay was predicted over 7.5 wins, which
Okay.
would probably be the best team in the
Yeah,
league.
it's 10 weeks.
Yeah. But I'm going to pick Seattle. I'm going to go against the grain. They play at CenturyLink Field where the
Yep.
Seattle Seahawks play. They sold out the entire lower half,
Yep.
which they were only going to sell. They had to sell more tickets in the top.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
And that
That's
whole,
a loud stadium.
Yeah, that stadium's loud.
Wait,
It's
do they have the
gonna
one
be loud
section?
in there.
Do they have the one section open
Because
where
they have
it's the
nothing else.
opening?
They have nothing else.
the
in
whole
Seattle
section?
going
Yeah,
on
everything
Right now.
everything's open now. I think.
Mariners, it's so bad.
Like,
They have,
you know,
but
the
I'm
one
saying right
section
now, they
where
don't
it's
have
like
a
Yeah,
they don't
yeah,
have an
yeah.
NBA team. They don't have an NHL team, so they'll sell
Well,
in
they're
Seattle.
going to have an
Yeah.
NHL team.
But I'm
soon,
saying
though.
right now,
Yeah.
so obviously there's nothing to do there. It's like, all right, screw it. Let's go see an
Mhm.
XFL game. It's too bad their team sucks.
And the Dragons did look better than the Vipers last
Yes,
week.
that's why I'm going
I
with
think that they're gonna have a really good crowd on
Yep.
on Saturday, and they're gonna beat the Tampa Bay Vipers.
Steve, like you guys said, I had the Vipers going into the season, but the Vipers were just shooketh. They were shooketh by the
Guardians.
The Guardians crowd was ridiculous, and just like you said, that's one of the loudest stadiums in all of the NFL, and I don't see any way that they beat the Dragons over there.
So you're picking the Dragons minus 2.5?
I'm picking the Dragons, but my heart says
or plus
Vipers,
2.5. Sorry.
but
Your head
my head says
led you away
Dragons.
from.
Yeah.
You're a Seattle guy, man. You got to go with the Seattle team.
I'm not a Seattle XFL guy.
All right.
So the next game is Dan's Dallas Renegades, 0-1, going up against the LA Wildcats, who just fired their defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson,
Yeah.
after 1 week
Funny.
and cut their defensive captain.
Yup.
They got torched.
So
Yeah.
LA said, screw it. We're not messing around. We got 10 weeks. I'm cutting you if you're not
Yeah.
going to give us the results.
It's already turmoil in LA.
Yeah.
Like after 1 week. This is an easy game. Renegades -4. It's easy because Landry Jones is coming back. He's one of the best players in the league. Renegades offense was the problem against against St. Louis last week. Once Landry Jones gets slotted in at quarterback, their offense is going to get rolling. And you saw they had a great defense in the first week. Easy money. Renegades -4.
Wildcats looked really bad against Houston.
Very bad.
They look very bad. I mean, Dallas lost, but they didn't look terrible. Their
No.
defense played
Yeah.
fine for the most
Only gave
part.
up 15 points.
But I mean, they lost the game they're supposed to lose against my Battlehawks. So
they didn't have their starting quarterback. They had an undergram
they
Instagram model.
blew a minus
Underwear.
9.5 point spread.
That spread was
Regardless-
ridiculous. If I knew
regardless.
that Landry Jones wasn't going to play, I would have hammered St. Louis. But
Won some money on St. Louis money line last week. But anyways, give me Dallas to win this week
Now,
-4?
everything,
and spread.
Okay.
Yeah,
every single
actually
thing.
no. Yeah, actually never mind. Yeah, Dallas win
Okay.
and cover.
Thank you for going back and forth.
I wasn't sure. You
But,
rushed me.
I didn't rush you. Every single thing you just said about the Dallas Renegades is true about the Los Angeles Wildcats.
how
They
so?
were missing their quarterback. They started this guy from Princeton, Chad Kanoff.
Chad
Do
Kanoff.
you
I
know
know
who
Chad
their
Kanoff
quarterback is?
Yeah.
LA?
Oh,
Who their real quarterback is? Who has been named the starter for this week?
oh.
Former NFL superstar backup, Josh Johnson.
Josh
Wow.
Johnson.
Ooh, that's spicy.
And he
I
was
like that.
the number 1 pick of the Alliance of American Football League
Yeah,
that died after 1 year.
not even.
He was a top 3 quarterback selection in the quarterback draft. LA, you got your superstar. Josh Johnson's going to come out. He's going to outplay Landry Jones in a matchup that next year one of these guys will be the backup of an NFL team. If they're not the MVP of the XFL, they might just say, I'm going to stay and be the face.
I thought Josh Johnson played baseball, but that's besides the point. Honestly, Steve, I think you're off your rocker. There's no way that's gonna happen.
So you got Dallas winning.
Yes.
-4.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm the only one on Josh Johnson. +4, LA. Let's go.
All right, big game up next. St. Louis Battlehawks going on the road to the Houston Roughnecks. See, this is an easy game.
Easy.
Houston's offense is rocking, but they have not faced a defense that St. Louis has. St. Louis has arguably the best quarterback and running back duo in the
That's
league.
not-
To go with easily a top 3 defense. I think it's pretty undisputable at
Big
this
team.
point. They're the dogs. They're the dogs. They were
Dog
plus
mentality?
9.5 last week. They're +8. That's easy money. Bet the house on St. Louis to win and cover that 8 points.
I think Andrew's got a good point. I do like the Battlehawks +8.
Dog mentality.
But I'm going with the Roughnecks in a shootout here. Roughnecks, like you said last week,
Stupid.
great offense. They played really well. Give me the Roughnecks, but Battlehawks +8.
Now, the Bud Light Seltzer Lounge that was in the St. Louis
Loved
Battlehawks
it. Loved it.
locker
Taylor
room.
Heineke.
Oh, that was
Taylor
amazing.
Heineke,
And
yeah.
then I loved how they took the Gatorade and just threw it on the coach's
Yeah,
face when you're standing
yeah,
there.
no idea.
The guy was completely drenched. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and I
That's so
loved
funny.
every second of it. It's on our Twitter if you are interested in finding it. Now, I want to see the Bud Light Seltzer Lounge again this week, but I can't pick the St.
Come
Louis
on.
Battlehawks to beat the Houston Roughnecks because the Roughnecks, not only do their uniforms come across on TV amazing, they look beautiful. on
It's
TV.
weird with like the silver.
Yeah.
I loved the silver helmets. They looked really nice. They look like the Oilers logo, but that's
Mhm.
besides
But I
the
think
point.
they tried going for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really do like the Roughnecks. I like the way PJ Walker looked a lot.
Yeah, PJ
He
Walker was
looked
killing
awesome, and I think that he finally is getting his shot.
it. Yep.
So I'm going to pick them, and Sammy Coates will have a big game for St.
Sammy
Louis.
Coates. Yeah.
I mean, for Houston.
Andrew, we're on the same page here, and I have to agree with you. I think that we're gonna win this week.
Good man. We're gonna win this week.
But,
Okay.
oh, wait.
wait, you
Let me
have
add
the
in-
win? They're winning.
We both have them winning.
Wait,
covered.
what do
I
you
have
have
Houston
covered?
wins, St. Louis covers.
So
the
you got the same thing as
I think
me.
it's gonna be a close game.
All of
Yeah.
us say cover. All right,
Okay.
a couple of tidbits on the St. Louis Battlehawks while I'm here.
Battlehawks expert.
The guy who balled out yesterday that no one really talking about, your boy Alonzo Russell, ex-Giant,
Yep. I
balled
love
out.
him.
He had a beautiful catch in the
Do you remember how
sideline.
pissed I was when he got cut from the Giants?
Yes, he wasn't that bad. He played pretty well last
Amazing
week.
preseason.
Also, I will say that the St. Louis Battlehawks have the most followers on Twitter of any of the XFL accounts.
That's nice.
Because
I
they
like
don't have an
their
NFL
build.
franchise.
and they play in the dome. It's
that
built for
dirty,
that.
disgusting dome.
They're built for it.
How
Someone's
awesome
gonna play
was
there.
that
So they have
video
2 road games
of
in a
them-
row?
of the St. Louis fans watching them when they scored that
Yeah,
touchdown.
they were going crazy.
They were going
They
insane.
love it on
They
Twitter.
need a
They're
football
crazy
team.
for it.
Dude,
Yeah,
the XFL, it's here to stay, man.
I mean, what is it? A 3-year deal?
3-year deal.
The
with both,
fans in St. Louis,
Fox and
there's better
ESPN.
football
That's great.
fans in St. Louis than there is in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do miss having the Rams there. They really do.
And I think that the XFL will benefit from where they put the teams, because the Alliance of American Football, where they put the teams, never made any sense.
Birmingham.
That was-
Birmingham,
yeah.
no New York, Philadelphia.
Yeah, they really.
They had nothing in
The
Boston.
XFL kind
East
of the
Coast.
XFL kind of reaped the benefits of the AAF just burning out. They learned
everything.
They did all the mistakes, got them all out of the way. So the XFL had a lot of.
It was
easier
terrible
job
what
to do.
the AAF did. Like you said, that is
Nobody-
like,
there was
Birmingham-
no
that
buzz
is
around it.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, how can you even possibly think it's a good idea to put a football team in Birmingham,
Well,
Alabama?
that was my team. I like the Iron, but man, the Guardians, baby, we're way better
this
than
this
the
league
Iron.
is so much better.
Well, there was a time where I thought it would be smart to put baseball team in Kentucky. That would have been a horrible idea.
Yeah,
But
you're an
that's-
idiot.
That's
for
why
that.
you don't make those decisions.
You're an idiot.
So we went long
I
on
was
our
like 15.
on our football
Louisville
XFL
Sluggers.
coverage. We're gonna skip over the Myles Garrett suspension being lifted because everybody knows about that already. Real quick, I want to touch on the Jameis Winston eye surgery.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Here we go.
So what do you guys think is gonna be the result of Jameis Winston getting this eye surgery?
An MVP trophy. No,
Okay,
I don't know about all that. I think he's gonna definitely. I mean, you look at it, touchdowns, yards are there, but he's throwing blind.
Mhm.
This man might be a lot more accurate. I mean, every time he throws, he's squinting. He can't see anything downfield. So we got to give him a chance, a new year to prove himself
An unwritten
with this
book.
eye surgery.
Yeah, see, I don't know what to say about how he's going to do next year because I don't know who he's going to play for. But honestly, I don't care if he plays for. He's going to start wherever he goes. He led the league in passing. He's not going to be a backup anywhere, so someone's going to sign him to be their starter. New eye surgery, I value that at about a plus 10. So take away 10 interceptions.
10.
So give him
Jeez.
instead of 30-30, give him 30 and 20. 20 interceptions is still a
Still a
lot.
lot.
Let me
Lot.
make that very clear. But I
30's
think
crazy.
he could still be up there. I think he stays in Tampa first off, because the only other option is Phillip Rivers. I think we can all agree that Jameis Winston is better for that offense than
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers. I think he'll put up good numbers again. I think the eye surgery, I think it's legit. I'm buying into the story. I think he's gonna cut down on the interceptions.
You know what would be crazy real quick? If Kirk Cousins has a bad year and he moves on, Jameis Winston gets signed to a 1-year deal, then goes to the Vikings. You have
Yup.
2 eye stories. You have the Mike Zimmer
Yup.
eye story. You have the Jameis Winston eye story.
An eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye. That would be an amazing team to watch because you wouldn't be able to see them.
Well, here's
I'm-
my thoughts on Jameis Winston. I'm going to give you a bold prediction. The Tennessee Titans are not going to pay Ryan Tannehill. Jameis Winston gets the job in Tennessee.
They take the number 1 pick over the number 2 pick.
Instead of Squintin' Winston, the Tennessee Titans get famous Jameis.
Yeah.
And they get a better quarterback.
Winston.
Jameis Winston, the eye surgery, this guy, he's going to be good next year.
Elite.
I guarantee it. Top 10. Top 10.
Well, why are you guys like assuming this is automatically going to turn him into Cyborg? Honestly, I think he's going to play the exact same. He might just be a little bit better. And when you talk about eye for an eye, you're completely ripping off a whole angle from AEW. It's ridiculous.
Jeez. Sorry, AEW.
I really think Jameis Winston, he's a very talented player. He's a very talented player in the league. I just don't see this eye surgery having that humongous effect on him.
Got a question for you real quick. Do you think a blind Jameis Winston is better than Jerry G?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting. Well, let's move on from football after that point that we got from Pablo.
A blind me is better than Jerry G.
I don't know about
We're
that.
going to go on to the NBA All-Star Weekend and the Daytona 500. We're going to give you predictions for every single one
Yep.
of these events. starting with the 3-point contest.
So we have 8 people in the 3-point contest. We have Zach LaVine from the Bulls, Buddy Hield from the Kings, Devontae Graham from the Charlotte Hornets, Duncan Robinson from the Heat, Davis Bertans from Washington, Joe Harris from the Nets, Trae Young from the Hawks, and Devin Booker takes Damian Lillard's spot, and he's from the Suns. My pick, real quick, I think Trae Young is going to absolutely crush this competition. He is going to be incredible. He's going to show why he is the new age of basketball with Steph Curry. He's going to take over this 3-point contest. It's not even going to be close.
I think this is easy. It's got to be Joe Harris.
No.
Bring it back to back. Bring it back to Brooklyn. Nets on yes. Let's go. Go New York. He's going to win it.
I like yes.
Well, Dan stole my pick there. I'm going to go with Trae Young as well. I actually have money on Trae Young to win the 3-point
What
contest.
odds you got? Let me know the odds.
It was in some. I've got to check the odds. I don't know off the top of my head, but
Free money right there.
I got Trae Young winning the 3-point contest. Last year, I was big on Steph Curry defending his crown and winning, but of course, Joe Harris had to go and ruin that. Trae Young is going to win the 3-point contest. I think that his biggest competition was Damian Lillard.
Yep.
Now that he's out, Devin Booker is no slouch, but Trae Young's going to win the 3-point contest.
I have Devin Booker winning, and the reason why I have Devin Booker winning is because everybody is overlooking him. He's one of the best shooters in the entire league. This just goes to show you that when you're not expected to win, you might actually overperform. I mean, I was expected to win Mr. Cerevel, and Mike Sensi out of nowhere just entered, and he won Mr. Cerevel, and nobody expected him to even be in it. So I have Devin Booker winning.
It's a hell of a comparison.
Trae Young's got to be the favorite, right?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Probably. I'd assume so. Going to the dunk contest real quick. We have 4 participants. We have Dwight Howard from the Lakers, Derrick Jones Jr. from the Miami Heat, Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic, and Pat, what's his name? Pat Connaughton from the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, my pick here, I was going back and forth between the guy who I really wanted to see win. It'd be so cool to see Dwight Howard do the Superman thing and win the dunk contest again. He actually has the worst odds of anybody in the dunk contest.
He's old.
So he's the long shot. This is Aaron Gordon's contest to lose.
Yep.
This guy should already have a dunk contest crown. Was robbed by Zach LaVine, who had one of the best dunk contest performances we've ever seen that year in Toronto. Aaron Gordon might bring out the Magic mascot again. Maybe he'll jump over Shaq. Who knows? He's going to win this contest. Whatever he does will be insane, though.
I wish we could have seen Zach LaVine, and everyone wants that Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine contest because that's the best dunk contest we've ever seen in our lifetimes. I mean, you could go to when Vince Carter was sticking his entire forearm into the basket. Like, that was awesome to see. But going back and forth with incredible dunks, 50, 50, 50, 50. This is, like you said, Aaron Gordon's contest to lose. I think Dwight Howard is going to put on a good show. But, I mean, with age, I don't think he's dunking on, a 14-foot rim or a 12-foot rim like he did last time.
Well, you see, everyone's kind of sleeping on Dwight Howard. I think everyone's going to pick Aaron Gordon because he looked good last time. But
He looked
since
very good
his
last time.
first appearance in 11 years, Dwight Howard's going to go in there, show he hasn't lost a step, and he's going to win it.
Wow.
Dwight Howard can barely even move, kid. But let me tell you something.
Who better than you?
Aaron Judge's twin brother, Aaron Gordon, is going to completely just...
All
he's
rise.
going to kill the game. All rise. All rise. Here comes the Gordon. And he's going to win the dunk contest.
Let's go to Team LeBron and Team Giannis, which the new format of this game is pretty cool, how they race to certain points to win money.
Yeah.
And I have Team LeBron winning this game. It's basically an East versus West because that's the way it worked out.
That's what I want to get into real quick
let's hear
because, I love the draft. I think that's the best thing they've done with the All-Star game. It makes it really interesting. It's really cool to see the captains on live TV picking their teams. But what the hell, LeBron? What the hell, Giannis? You're just picking all the East and all the West. The starting 5 is the same for LeBron. It's the whole West versus the whole East. You got to mix it up. I think you got to make a couple rules in this. Like, you got to make sure you have at least 2 East players on your team or something, or you can't pick a teammate or something like that.
Yeah.
Because Giannis is obviously going to pick Middleton, and LeBron's obviously going to pick Anthony Davis. I want to see some mixture because just a West versus East, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. But, we got to mix it up here.
Well, one thing I also would like to see is you should not be able to be a captain 2 years in a row. Because LeBron's been a captain every single time this has been around.
Well, it's only been for 2 years now.
Three, I think. Because Giannis was last 2 and Curry was the first one. It was LeBron and Curry the first time.
Oh, the public voting has been for 2 years. They did behind the scenes. No, it's been 3 years then because they did a behind the scenes one.
They did the picking behind the scenes the last 2 years have been on live TV.
Yeah.
But I think that if you switch up the captains, you'll get different teams. Obviously, Giannis is going to pick Chris Middleton every time.
Yeah.
And obviously he's going to stick towards his Eastern Conference teammates.
Yeah.
LeBron, Anthony Davis, that's a given.
Yep.
And if Kyrie was in it, he probably would have picked him too.
Yep.
So maybe you get that. But I think if you switch up the captains, the teams will look a little different. Maybe just implement a rule that says if you've been a captain before, can't be a captain again.
Or for 2 years you gotta wait or something.
I think that would be a little more interesting.
Yeah. But going to the rosters, I really like Team LeBron's roster. Giannis, man, he is a terrible drafter, man. I'm just watching. I'm like, you got this guy available, and he goes in a completely different route. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? I mean, like, his team last year, I think they were up. Like, they blew a lead in the last All-Star game. Yeah, and they blew it. Giannis is going to be hungry. I mean, he's got some really talented players on. I think he has Russell Westbrook. He has I don't remember.
He has Trey.
Yeah, he has Trey. There's some like guys that are really going to play hard because they want to show themselves. But Team LeBron, I think they have a better roster.
You can go.
All right. So when you look at this game, it's a completely joke. Honestly, it's just for fun. I do understand that half of the I believe the West is going to be wearing 24 and the East is going to be wearing number one.
Well, LeBron's wearing 2.
LeBron's team's wearing 2
Giannis
for
wearing 24.
Yes.
GG.
Oh yeah, I said West, but
yeah.
I think this game is a joke. It's for fun, so it really doesn't matter who they have on their team because at the end of the day, they're just going to choose your buddies. And I do actually agree. If you've been a captain last year, I don't think you should ever be a captain, or at least have it where like you can't be a captain for the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. So that just I think it's dumb because you're just going to choose the same teams all the time.
Yeah, you look at the rosters. Team LeBron is stacked. Anthony Davis, James Harden, Kawhi, Doncic. I'm not good at pronouncing that. LeBron.
Luka
Doncic. Yeah, I mean, just on paper, you got to give it to LeBron. I mean, it's the All-Star game. It can go either way. It doesn't really matter. It's hard to predict, but yeah, LeBron should kill him.
Yeah, and then finally the Celebrity All-Star game. It's Stephen A. Smith and Michael Wilbon. You got Chance the Rapper, Quavo, Lil Rel Howery. This is going to be fun to watch, but Team Stephen A. is going to go out there and show up Michael Wilbon.
Yeah, my prediction for who's going to be the biggest part of this game, and it's not even going to be a player. It's going to be an assistant coach for Team Stephen A., and it's Guy Fieri.
Yep.
Guy Fieri is an assistant coach for Team Stephen A. is really going to help them out. I mean, they got some good players on Team Stephen A. Chance the Rapper as the captain. Quavo is going to be awesome to see again. You got Ronnie 2K. Darius Miles, like there's some good team, and then you look at the Wilbon team. They got Bad Bunny, Hannibal Buress, Kane Brown, the country music star.
That's a funny team.
Alex Moffat from SNL, if you know who that is. Like
it's gonna be funny.
It's gonna be very funny to watch. But give me Team Stephen A. just because of Guy Fieri.
I don't know who's on either team. You guys just said so many names. I don't know what team is which, but I'm gonna go with Stephen A. This guy, he's competitive for no exact reason. I think his team's gonna win.
I hope he gets kicked out. I'm a bad call and just starts screaming. That'd be funny. That'd be awesome.
It's hard to vote against. It's hard to root against Stephen A. But I mean
that
Wilbon roster is stacked. Bad Bunny,
Kane Brown,
yep.
Alex Moffat,
Hannibal Buress. I think Hannibal Buress is probably gonna drop by 20. So I think Team Wilbon's gonna win.
All right, now moving on from the All-Star weekend. The Daytona 500 is this Sunday. And to win this year, we'll do winner predictions real quick.
Yeah.
I want to pick Denny Hamlin because this guy is amazing on restrictor plate tracks, but it's the Daytona 500, so you got to get a little more interesting than that. I think Kyle Larson's going to win the Daytona 500.
Oh, your ex-boy.
Yeah, he's due for a win, and I think he's going to have a good race. And he's been racing a lot on dirt, and he was looking really good in practices and everything, so I got Kyle Larson winning Daytona.
Wow, I was just about to make every single point you did, but I wanted to pick Denny Hamlin. But I guess that's I can't pick Denny Hamlin. I mean, last year he was in the Final Four. He almost won, and he was so close. Couldn't get it done. And this year's going to be the Denny Hamlin Revenge Tour. Does it start with the Daytona 500? I guess not, because I'll pick someone else. I'll go with my boy, Chase Elliott, because Chase Elliott is so close. I mean, we already know he's such a big star in the NASCAR world. He has so many fans, being the next Jeff Gordon, taking Jeff Gordon's number, taking all those fans with him. But he's not at that elite level yet, I think a Daytona 500 win would start getting him into the conversation of becoming that elite level driver. It would be really good for him. I hope that happens. But like you said, Danny Hamlin, don't count him out in this race.
Yeah, I think the dark horse is Alex Bowman starting in the 1.
Alex
I'm not
Bowman.
picking him to win. I gotta go with my guy, number 31, Ryan Newman,
Ryan
starting
Newman.
in the
Number
13th
six.
spot.
Number 6. He switched cars.
It says 31 on my phone, so I'm gonna go with 31.
Yeah.
Is he still driving the Bass Pro Shop?
No, he's driving the number
Damn it.
6.
Yeah.
Roush
So what-
Fenway.
Yeah.
And
blue.
he used to be the cat too,
Yeah,
the cat
yeah,
card too.
yeah. Yep.
Anyways, regardless, Ryan Newman's gonna win.
Honestly, guys,
Do you know any NASCAR drivers?
it's kind of hard, but I'm just gonna go with Dan here. I think he kind of sounds like he knows what he's talking about, so I'm gonna agree with Dan.
All right. Well, let's go to what's in the cards. We're going to flip the card and figure out what Dan's got for us this week.
I'm nervous.
So this is not going to be real. Well, it's going to be a debate thing, but we might have some similar answers because this is called Mount Rushmore Sports. So we're going to have a Mount Rushmore question for you, and it's the Mount Rushmore of best professional sports franchises right now.
All right. So who started last?
Not
week?
right now. Sorry, overall in their histories. Overall,
In the
yeah.
history of sports.
In the history of sports,
All
your
right.
best 4.
All right. Did you?
He started, so
Zonak. Your top.
Best four sports franchises.
All right. We'll skip Zonak this week because he's sleepy. But so Pablo, you get to start.
All right, so you said the top 4, in no order, but kind of in order. Yankees, Lakers, Patriots, and and
You got a hockey one.
and Bulls.
Bulls.
You put 2 basketball. Are we allowed to do multiple?
Yeah, you could do
sports?
multiple
Oh,
sports.
just any 4.
Any
Okay,
4.
okay.
Yeah. Trying to think.
Interesting.
Yankees, Lakers, Patriots, Bulls.
Yeah, all right. Yankees.
All right. Well, then I gotta go. You gotta put the Yankees up there because it's 26. I know.
27.
I'm gonna
27.
27. I'm gonna put the Montreal
Almost 28.
Canadiens in the 4 as
Yeah.
well. So the Yankees, the Canadians. You gotta put the Patriots up there, and the Chicago Bulls. Actually, no. Instead of the Bulls, the Lakers. I got the Lakers.
That's why I
in
put
there.
both because it's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Wait,
But-
who's Yankees, Patriots, Lakers, and Canadians?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dan.
That's for Steve. I'm gonna start with the Lakers. I'm gonna take the Lakers right away. Then I'm gonna take the Yankees as well. Why, you happy I said the Yankees? Give me the Celtics. I think you're sleeping on the Celtics. And I'm gonna switch up from the Patriots. I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
And Andrew, round us off.
Yeah, I think everyone's agreeing with the Lakers, Yankees, Patriots, and I want to pick a hockey team, but there's no really hockey team that really stands above as like this ultimate powerhouse franchise. So I'm gonna stick with football. Give me the Steelers.
The Steelers was who I was gonna pick, but I went with the Patriots because of the 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I
the
think
more
you guys are sleeping on the
recency
Celtics
bias.
a little bit.
Celtics is a good pick.
I mean, yeah, not lately, but I mean,
I mean,
Overall
we're all-
history,
we're all
they-
very similar.
You're lucky
Yeah.
I chose one Boston team. I hate Boston sports.
All right. Well, you want to go with a tie there, or you want to vote? I mean, we're all really like.
Well,
right
what was
there.
it? What,
Well,
It's just
everyone
the bottom two.
everyone crosses
For
out the
everyone.
Yankees.
Yeah.
Cross out the Lakers.
Everyone crosses out the Lakers.
So everybody got the Yankees and Lakers.
So you have Pats and Bulls. You have
And cross out
Pats and Canadians. I have Celtics and 49ers, and he has Patriots and Steelers.
so Canadians, Celtics, and Steelers are the only 3 teams that we didn't agree on.
We have-
Interesting.
Not everyone has
No,
the Pats
Niners.
and- Dan
49ers,
doesn't have the
Steelers,
Patriots in there.
Celtics. I have 2 different ones.
Yeah.
I don't have the Pats. You 3 all have the Pats, but I don't.
Well, I don't think you would win the vote.
I mean, when you really
Probably
look
not.
at it, the Patriots are the best football team we've ever seen.
Maybe, yeah, but I don't
That
think
we-
overall
that-
history.
that we've ever seen.
I'm talking overall history. I'm a big history guy. Everyone knows.
It's hard. It's hard, but I would say in a Mount Rushmore, the Patriots are there.
Okay, so pick someone. You either got Patriots and Canadians, Patriots and Steelers, or Celtics and 49ers.
So if you have the Patriots in there
I-
automatically, it's either Bulls or Steelers.
I
Yeah,
would say
Bulls, Steelers, or Celtics and 49ers. Unless you have to,
Bulls, Steelers.
no, you have to pick Bulls or Steelers.
Bulls.
Okay.
So
Wait, no,
vote- so-
Bulls. He picked the Bulls.
No,
Never
you
mind.
picked the Bulls.
Canadians. Sorry,
Canadians or Steelers?
Canadians.
Steelers.
Okay.
All right, so your
one
vote
vote
goes
for
to
me.
Andrew.
Ooh yeah.
What's my vote?
Your vote, yeah.
Bulls or Steelers?
Well, if you don't want to pick mine,
Or Celtics,
Celtics,
or
Niners.
49ers.
Yeah.
I would pick the Celtics over the Bulls, but I was going to put the Steelers in over the Patriots, so I'll go with the Steelers.
Steelers. So 2 votes for
me.
Andrew.
Looking good.
This voting system makes absolutely no sense.
So I can win this no matter what, as long as I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
No, then you go first.
No, that's not how we're
You
going in
can't-
order.
You
You're
can't get an
skipping
auto.
order. It's
You
a
can't get an
strategy.
auto
Just
win though.
Pick.
I don't think the Bulls. I mean, yeah, they got
Maybe
6
I agree with you.
championships, but other than Michael Jordan, what have they been? So I don't want to go with the Bulls there. The Canadians, I mean,
They got like 24 cups.
they have like a dumb amount of cups,
Do
but
they?
there was
A
8.
lot early.
There was
A lot
8
early
teams in the
cups.
league, and that's when the Rangers got 2 of them. Doesn't matter. Those don't matter. Same with the Yankees. Half their championships don't matter. There was like 10 teams in the league.
Here we go. All right. So this was episode 7 of Before the Score.
This is episode 10, first of all.
10.
All right,
Seven,
Andrew's
three
going to win it.
episodes off.
Andrew's going to take the crown.
Okay, yeah. I would vote for Steve's, by the way. Canadians
thank
and Pats.
Well, that's all we got for episode 10. Next week on episode 11, we have a surprise for you. It's our first ever guest, our interview. He is from Barstool Sports. He runs the Sports Encyclopedia, and he is the star of the Frank the Tank podcast. It's going to be Frank Fleming. Is going to be
Wow.
our first ever guest on Before the Score. So don't miss that episode 11. This was episode 10, though, and we'll see you next week.